What is up, everyone? Hope everybody is all good, right? Video today on bulking. Don't mess up your bulk, right? You've done all that hard work to get as lean as you can. We're starting our building phase, and you don't want to mess it up. Now, these are 5 big tips. Again, that I've seen clients make a lot of mistakes with this. I've made all these mistakes myself as well. These are 5 crucial things that you need to make sure that you are doing correctly to make sure your building phase is as good as you can make it. Again, because this is where we're going to be actually growing muscle tissue. So we don't want to mess it up, right? So let's get into it. So number one, 1% of body weight gain per month. Now, you've seen previous videos that I've spoke about. We want to start our building phase as lean as we can, within that 8 to 12% body fat range. So once we get there, then we want to gain at around 1% of body weight per month. Now, the reason we want to do 1% is that, number one, it's quantifiable. You know, we're not thinking that we're in a surplus and we're gaining 0.02% of body weight per month, because what's that? It can't be quantifiable. So anywhere between 0.5 and 1% of body weight per month is a decent range to be in. So let's say you're someone who, again, got the example here, you're 180 pounds and you're pretty lean and you're starting your building phase as an example. Anywhere from, let's say, 1 to 2 pounds is a good range that you're going to build month to month. Any more than that, if you're 180 pounds and you're gaining 4 pounds every month, which is close to 2 kilo, you're close to 2% of body weight being gained per month. That is going to be a lot of unnecessary fat gain that you're just going to have to diet off down the line. So we want to be in a quantifiable surplus, just enough, but we also don't want to be too much that we're just getting fat. So there's a happy medium and there's a middle ground to find. And to get to 1% of body weight of gain per month, you're going to be around a 200, 300-ish calorie surplus daily. And that's going to put you in that sweet spot. So we want to maximize muscle tissue without getting as fat. So that's why it's just 1% per month. So if you're 180 pounds, over the course of, let's say, a 9-10 month push-up phase, you could look to slowly push up 20-ish pounds. That would be perfect. That would be a perfect rate of gain, 20 pounds in 10 months. That would be solid. And if you do that while progressing training, you're going to be building a hell of a lot of muscle tissue with that. So that's number one. Number two, training must be progressive. Again, we spoke about this before. We know how important it is for allowing progressive overload to take place and setting our training up in a way that allows that to happen. We must be progressing our lifts over time to make sure that we're building muscle tissue. Again, if you're not progressing lifts over time, well, you're not building muscle tissue. It's as simple as that. Strength and muscle tissue, again, strength with good form, and building your lifts in that fashion, highly correlated with muscle growth. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to progress things every week. You'll go from the video last week where I was talking about the progression scheme. You're not going to build muscle tissue every week in terms of being able to progress lifts or add a rep or add 5 kilo to a lift every week. So if we're not doing that, that doesn't mean we're not doing things right. It can take a couple of weeks to see these progressions to actually happen. But as long as we look at a bird's eye view and we look at our training, every 4 to 6 weeks, if we're looking at our numbers and things are going in the right direction, that's what we're looking for. So training must be progressive. We must progress our lifts in that 5 to 30 rep range throughout the duration of our building phase. Because if we're not, something's not right. Okay, that's number two. Number three, keep steps and any sort of cardio in that you was doing in the diet phase. Keep this in to a point. Now, this is a mistake I've seen a lot of people do. They get to the tail end of a diet phase. They might have been hitting 12,000 steps, a couple of cardio sessions per week. Again, all good stuff. As soon as they get into the building phase, their steps go from 12,000, all of a sudden they start sitting on their ass as much, and bang, they're down to 6,000 steps. So energy expenditure has dropped by 6,000 steps daily, and then they've stopped doing the cardio. So what happens with that? You have energy expenditure goes down, and then you brought in this surplus again. So what you think is a 200-300 surplus with your prior energy expenditure probably now turns into maybe a 600-800 calorie surplus, because your steps have dropped and you've dropped off your cardio. So then this is what will accumulate too much fat gain in the push-up phase because you haven't kept your expenditure or your cardio within a nice healthy range. So again, keeping your steps in that 8 to 10, 8 to 12,000 range to keep your expenditure on point. Again, a couple of cardio sessions, whether that be if you want to throw in high intensity once or twice a week, if you want to do that, if you fixed out that up with your training correctly, if it's just 60 minutes of long duration cardio, maybe split up into 2 30-minute sessions, whatever you were doing or you want to incorporate, keep that in. It's not just about energy expenditure, it's also about your general health and fitness. Keeping your cardiovascular fitness and your health on point as you're pushing up in body weight is also important. So it's not just about energy expenditure, it's also, again, your heart health as well and fitness. Again, most important muscle you've got, it's in here, it's the heart. If that's fucked, you're fucked. So again, make sure, don't get lazy with your steps or your cardio, keep it in, right? Number 4, this is a big one, very, very big one, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, and I've done this in the past. You have to be smart with off-plan meals. Now, I'm not going to tell anyone that you can't go out to a restaurant or you can't enjoy a meal with family or anything like this, because you can't live life like that. I totally get that. There is an element of balance and the social element that you have to have with this. But the caveat is you have to be smart with it. If you're bulking, as an example, on 3,500 calories, let's say, now a Saturday comes around and you go out for an off-plan meal. Now, if that off-plan meal all of a sudden turns into an absolute shit show of 7,000 calories, which are being ploughed in every other week, that's a problem, and we need to address that. However, if you're eating 3,500 calories, you have an off-plan meal, again, you go out to a restaurant, let's say you save a decent amount of calories for the restaurant meal when you go out, you keep your steps and you might get an extra little bit of cardio in that day, or you will have trained on that day. So let's say you've had 1,500 calories and you've saved 2,000 calories for when you go out to the restaurant. You go out to the restaurant and you're smart and you make good choices. You enjoy yourself with your family or whatever you're doing. Perfect, spot on. And if you were to go over by a couple of hundred calories here or there, no big deal, no need to sweat it. You find you have that flexibility because you've took the right steps in order to get yourself there. But if you go out every other week on these off-plan meals and it's an absolute fucking free-for-all and you're, again, plowing 7,000 calories down, that is going to be a problem. That is going to blow your total calories coming in for the week. That's going to blow your surplus. And again, you're going to start to accumulate too much body fat. So you do have more flexibility with off-plan meals in a building phase, of course, but you have to be smart with it. Don't get sloppy with it and just eat everything in sight, every weekend, because you are going to mess the whole process up. Vitally important, okay? So that's number 4. Now, number 5, very, very underrated, but probably the most important out of everything. Again, I've seen this with clients. They get to the end of a diet phase and they get into a bulk. All of a sudden, they switch it off. They switch off the dimmer switch in terms of intensity, and they think, oh, we're only bulking now. This is easy. And it's the wrong mindset, because now you got to the end of a diet phase, you've done all that hard work, you put yourself in a good body composition. Now is where we build muscle tissue. Now is the golden opportunity to be in a slight surplus and again see your list progressing, because of the surplus as well. It's going to help you out a lot more. So if your whole process, it just becomes diminished in terms of your training organisation, your training times, you start missing training sessions, you start missing meals, you start missing sleep, your whole recovery modalities, everything is just off because you're bulking. Your whole process has become fucked, and your ability to get the most results out of what you're doing, again, it's going to be diminished. So I love this quote. You want to become a champion of the process. Forget about the outcome and building the muscle tissue. Forget about the outcome. If you're a champion of the process, if you nail training times, you don't miss training sessions, you nail your meal timing, you nail your food quality, your tracking of your food, you nail your hydration, you nail your sleep, you nail your recovery, you nail everything across the board as best as you can. You try to really nail down, again, your own process. Again, become a champion of the process. That will lead to the outcome. There is no way it doesn't happen. But become a champion of the process. Don't take your eye off the ball. And if you do that for a long enough time, the muscle tissue is going to be built. But that's the fundamentals of it, right? So, hopefully that all makes sense. Again, take these tips on board, and it's going to make your gaining phase a lot more successful. Again, this is a golden opportunity to build muscle tissue when you are in the building phase. Don't mess it up being sloppy, because you'll regret it. These building phases, they come around fast and they go fast as well. Before you know it, you'll be back in a diet phase, and then you'll be left with the muscle tissue that you've built. So if you've pissballed around in this phase, you're not going to see the benefits or the reap the rewards of your hard work. So make sure you're on point. Right, make sure you like the video, make sure you're subbed. Any other questions, any other video ideas, drop them down below. Any questions you all have, let me know. I'll get to it in the comment section. But thanks for all the support recently on the videos. As I say, weekly videos coming in, training vlogs, Q&As coming up soon, more educational videos like this. Share the content, let's keep it pumping, because we're going to keep growing. All right, speak to you all in the next one.